Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. Today we have Anna back after 4 weeks. Anna's my daughter. And we're going to be removing the last set I did with her, or did on her, which was, they're looking like spoons. First of all, they need to come off. But this is 4 weeks of growth. And I'm just showing you guys her, how the nails look. There's no lifting, no damage, but it's time for them to come off. Now you can see her hands are 2 different colors. That's because we are in Arizona, and her left hand of course gets sun from driving and the right hand doesn't. She pointed that out to me right before we did this set, and I was like, I wonder if it'll show up on camera. That's pretty much the only time it does. I think it's kind of cute. We kind of all look like that around here. Anyway, I looked underneath her nails before I started doing a removal. I'm using straight edge clippers, and I'm going with the direction of the nail a little bit close to her free edge because her only growth is 4 weeks, because this set was a new set. It wasn't a fill or a rebalance. And the reason we're removing these is because she is moving. She, again, is my daughter. Her and her kids, my grandchildren, have been living with me for the past year so that she could save some money, get a new car, get on her feet, and get a different place. The place she was in, they kept raising the rent, and it was just honestly a shithole, not worth the rent that she was paying already. So anyway, she's got her new place. It's not an apartment. It's I would say duplex, but it's 4 units. It's very nice. It's newly remodeled. She'll be the first one in it. All new appliances, all new everything. Air conditioned backyard, washer, dryer. And it's going for over $250 less than the shithole apartment she was in before. So, fabulous deal. Also, it's literally on my street. I can get there in less than 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes from her work, 2 minutes from daycare. So it was just meant to be. We're all super duper happy about it. But during the move, she doesn't really want to have nails. And during the move, there's a lot of things topsy-turvy around here. So we just we didn't have time to do a removal and a full set. So when she's done moving, we will get together and put her a new set on. And of course, I will put that up. I did ask on my community tab if you guys wanted to see this removal. That is all this is a removal and a gel manicure afterward. So if that's not interesting, you can fast forward. This is all in real time. I'll let you know when it speeds up. But I am using my Notpolish e-file on a speed of about 14 or 15. And this is a powerful e-file, so it's probably about an 18 or 19 on other e-files. And the reason I always say that, by the way, is because when I was teaching myself to do removals, to use an e-file, all of that, I would always want to know what speed someone was using their e-file on. And for example, let's just use V for example. If she mentioned it, I'm using my e-file on a speed of 4. There was never the comparison of, okay, she's using a Kiara Sky e-file and I'm using a Melody Susie. If I put mine on a 4, it's not going to do the work hers is doing on a 4. So if you want your e-file to do the work this is doing in this video, again, it's in real time. If you want it to do, like, let's just say you have the same bit from Notpolish, which this is a 4-course safety removal bit that I will link in the description box. Code GEN for anything you buy at Notpolish, by the way. If you're using this very same bit and you don't see it doing the work, you might get frustrated. You might burn your client or yourself because you're having to use too much pressure. You should let your e-file do the work, so it should be up at a higher speed than you think. Once you're comfortable using your e-file, don't go right in, shredding. But I say all of that to say what speed you should probably have your e-file on to do this type of work if you're using like a Melody Susie, for example. That's why I always say this is a powerful e-file, not to say, that's the reason I'm saying it. Anyway, what I'm going to do, how I like to do a removal or a rebalance, is to get all the acrylic as thin as I possibly can. I get it down to my clear layer. And once I'm there, I will have my client or myself do a soak off. I did time this, and I've timed it before. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to remove all 10 nails. A little bit, about a minute a finger, not very long. So you might think, oh gosh, a removal and a soak off is going to take 45 minutes, 30. No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. If you have your e-file up high and you're letting it do the work, I could have turned this up higher, but this was a brand new bit and I just wasn't comfortable yet. But I could have had this up to about an 18, which would probably be about a 21 on other e-files, and probably made quicker work of it. Not probably, I could have. It definitely. But I just didn't. I just chose not to. I was making a tutorial out of this. I didn't want to encourage anyone to do that, I guess. So you might see me pushing a little harder, and you'll also see me running my fingers across the nail quite frequently, or pausing and rubbing on her nail. That is to get rid of heat or to avoid heat. So she does tell me whenever it gets warm. She knows to tell me when it gets warm before it gets hot. So if I like get immersed in my work and I forget to keep feeling, she'll say that's getting warm, so we can prevent ever having any heat spikes, you know. Well, heat spikes are from gel, but you know what I mean, burning from the e-file. So, oh gosh, what was I saying in the beginning? Right, so this takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do the removal down to the clear layer on all of the nails. I am taking off the length as well, which includes the acrylic that is on there, the tip that is on there, and the natural nail that is on there. It's okay to use this bit to remove the free edge of your natural nail because you're going to clip it off with clippers anyway. If you're trying to save your client's length, that is a different procedure, so do not do this if that's what you're trying to do. I had my dust collector in completely the wrong place. As you can see, I was using it more of a hand dress than a dust collector. So all my dust, all the nail dust was going toward me, and my e-file my dust collector should have been more close to my body. So I should have had it pulled way out from under that armrest. Anyway, so it wasn't doing much work. This is a good dust collector. I got it from Acrylic a long time ago, years ago, probably 3-4 years ago. She doesn't sell them anymore, but it actually does a great job when it is placed properly. We were listening to a live, so there are times that I stop, and there are times when I had to just shut the dust collector off because I didn't have it in the right position, and I couldn't hear the live very well because the dust collector was on. And the reason that I do most of the removal with my e-file is 2 or 3-fold. Number one, when you put your client or yourself in acetone to soak. Acetone is, you know, a destroyer, a breakdowner, and I'm not using the right words, but you know, it is meant to melt away and destroy things, and it can damage your natural nails. Your natural nails are porous, your skin is porous, and that acetone, the longer you soak in it, longer you have your fingernails and your fingers in acetone, it's just not good for you. And it can cause contact dermatitis, it can cause blistering, rashes, allergic reactions, any kind of thing. It's just really not the best. So I try to do most of the removal with my e-file. That takes, again, about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I will have my client put their hands in acetone. I will take them out like you see me doing here. This is after 5 minutes of soaking, so there isn't much acrylic on the nail, just the clear layer. And I will remove it gently but firmly with a clean paper towel. And that wasn't really ready to come out, so I went to the other hand, and so forth. So my clients or Anna here was only in acetone less than 10 minutes. And I did have her wash her hands once. I'll show you what step it was that I had her wash her hands. I had her wash her hands twice. But you want to get this off with hot soapy water as soon as you can, just because it's not good for you. It's just not good. And what you might not know is, you know, okay, her hands are out of the acetone, so we're done with the acetone. But what you might not know is there's still acetone on her skin up to her first knuckle-ish, wherever it was up to, still absorbing and soaking in to her skin. If you don't wash it off, it's just going to stay there, and that's not good. The other reason that I do that is because of time. I would rather, it's quicker for me to use my e-file to get product off. And also, if you set your client straight in a soak off when they get there, it takes a very long time for the acetone to break off to break apart the top coat, your gel layer. It breaks down acetone. What am I talking about? Breaks down acrylic. Much easier if you have removed the top coat and if you have filed into it a little bit. In other words, you have made it coarse, so it is also more porous instead of more slick, if that makes sense. I always say if that makes sense, but I'm sure it does make sense because I just said it. And so now we're going to get into the rest of the removal and prep. And so I'm pushing back her cuticles with the cuticle pusher. And I think that the steps of this and the tools that are used and the procedure that it's done in is preference. So I push back the cuticles with the cuticle pusher, and then I take a medium sanding band. I have my e-file on a speed of, I believe it was 4, which would probably be about a 6, like on your Melody Susie. I'm just using that for an example, for reference. And taking off the bulk of the acrylic. I'm not taking all of it off, and I'm not going on her natural nail. This is just like secondary removal with my e-file. And most of this acrylic is super soft from the acetone, so it's coming off quite easy. This is also in real time for you guys, so you can see how long it takes and the pressure and angle that I'm using. And once I've done this step, I think I have her wash her hands, just because I thought, oh wait, she needs to get that acetone off. And also, acrylic that has been soaked in acetone remains soft even if you go wash your hands, even if you let it sit for 10 minutes. It's going to stay soft is what I'm trying to say. So, and it doesn't stay wet. The acetone evaporates almost instantly, so the nails are dry. So you don't think, like even once you or your client has taken your hand out of acetone and you're moving your hand away from the acetone dish, it's not even going to barely drip. Like it's drying that fast. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it just remains on a lot longer than you think, and it does a lot more work than you think, so be careful with it. So yeah, I'm going to go through and remove the bulk of the clear layer that is still here. The thumb had quite a whopper on there. I never ended up getting it off. And when I say that I was getting this ready for prep, that is because I'm not going to stop this service with just a removal. I was going to put on a dehydrator, bonder, base coat, and top coat. And she was going to leave with just a clear set of super short nails, like no free edge, just cut them down. And right as I was top coating the first 2 fingers, because I asked her before we started if she wanted a color, and she said no, just top coat. But this whole service took about 45 minutes, by the way. It usually takes 25 to 30 minutes, but if I'm just doing a removal and top coat, but if I'm doing a color, if I'm going in with a gel manicure, that adds about 10 or 15 minutes to the service. Anyway, once I had top coated 2 fingers but not cured them yet, and you'll see that in the video, that is when she said, if I still want a color, can I have one? I was like, of course, which one is it? And there was a color that she had been looking at that was calling her name. So we did put color on, we did do a gel manicure. As of now, this is sped up 1.5 times because you've already seen this on the other hand. So I'm pushing back the cuticles, removing the bulk of the acrylic with the medium sanding band on a speed of 4 or 5. I'll let you guys watch. So I mentioned earlier that I have certain steps that I do a removal in, and these are just the steps I like to go in. You know, this one first, this one next, and second, third, etc. And I did hear a nail tech say one time that if you're servicing clients, to do the same thing in the same order every time, that will cut down your time. And that's very true. It doesn't cut your time down by a half an hour or anything, but you're looking to decrease your time. It is a good idea to be in a routine where you do a removal in the same order of steps each time. If you lay your acrylic, do your filing, e-file first, hand file first, like whatever you're doing, keep it the same every time. Get in a routine. It really does speed up your process. So next I'm going in with a straight edge pair of nail clippers and trimming her free edge off, like I said, quite gone. She just wanted no free edge. When she has natural nails, she likes them short. So that's what we're doing. So that is my next step. Now I'm going in with a 180 just to fine tune the edge I just cut. 180 is a little bit harsh for a natural nail. So if you were doing just like a regular manicure, probably not the best file to use. You might want to go in with like a 180. Or I'm sorry. 180 is not that bad of one. But then I'm going to go in with a buffer, a Tammy Taylor sponge buffer. And what I'm doing here is smoothing her skin. Any little crumbly bits of acrylic, like you'll see on her free edge here, there's like a little bit of acrylic stuck there, same as on her pinky. This is just something I like to do just to get the little acrylic bits off. Then I'm going to go in with, I believe, well, I'll see when we get there. Hold on, I can't remember. So funny that I say I can't remember because I just got done telling you guys to keep the same steps. So I'm pretty positive I go in with a ball bit next, which is literally my favorite tool. Okay, yes, so we are coming in with a ball bit here. Anna's cuticles are usually quite thick and dry, so this is extremely satisfying whenever I get to do her, I say cuticle, but this is actually not her cuticle. It's proximal fold and eponychium, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to look that up because it's been years, you guys. But cuticle is the dead skin on the nail plate, by the way. So anyway, I'm getting off her dry skin. With this, it's extremely satisfying. I have this in 1.5 times for you, so it is going by pretty quick. But the work that this does, I just think is fabulous. I love it. Love it. Love doing it. Love watching it back. And I do go along. Some nail techs go to the left and then turn their e-file on the opposite direction and do the right. And that works great. I just feel like it's an extra step and you have to stop and you get the same result just moving your hand in the opposite direction. So that's what I prefer to do. That's just me. It's just preference. You don't have to do either one. And you want to try to keep this off. By the way, this my e-file is on a speed of 7 or 8 for this. I did at one time not too long ago say I was going to learn to turn it up to like 16 or 17. And yes, you can really actually trim cuticles like you would with a nipper if you turn your e-file up that high, especially on a, I'm just going to say cuticle for the sake of ease, but you guys know what I mean. On a client like this who has a real thick, her cuticles weren't hard, but they were thick. Instead of using nippers, but I feel like buffing them out does a good enough job instead of actually removing them. If I'm going to say it again, if that makes sense. Of course it makes sense, but I think you guys know what I mean, like actually peeling it off. I have learned doing that. Yeah, it works great, but it is much easier to nip or make your client bleed just because you are going in harder, heavier, faster. And when you are pulling or ripping something off, you're much more likely to take live skin with it. But super satisfying, and you want to try to keep this off the nail plate. Of course, it's going to graze the nail plate because you're so close and it's round, but if you use a lot of pressure, you're going to damage the client's nail plate with that. So be careful with that bit, but it does amazing work. I love a ball bit. This is a bit I got from Kiara Creations. I love it. I've been using it on every set. When it goes dull, I'm going to have to buy another one. I'm going very lightly. This is also in 1.5 times. Very lightly and stopping when I'm finished, not over prepping. Just getting the gook out of the nooks and crannies around the edges of her nail. And I'll let you guys watch. Okay, so you remember when I went in with the sanding band that was medium on a speed of 5 or 6, which is kind of a little bit high, maybe like a 7 or 8. And I told you I was only on the acrylic and not the natural nail for debulking the acrylic that just came out of the acetone. Well, now I'm going in with a fine sanding band on a speed of 1 or 2. I barely have my e-file even turned on. And what I'm doing now is making the acrylic flush. Any acrylic that's left on the nail flush to the natural nail. And I'm leaving some on because it doesn't matter as long as what you have on there doesn't look bulky, doesn't look weird, and doesn't affect the nail. Like this thumb had quite a bit of acrylic on, and it wasn't really coming off very easily, so I was just smoothing it out. And I'm also going on her natural nail to take off the shine of that little area of growth that she had. Now, I didn't touch that area of her natural nail with the sanding band last time because it was a coarser grit and it was up higher. So it might seem strange that I'm doing this twice, but it's just because it's a different speed, different grit, and different process that I'm doing. Also, one thing about this set that I didn't really like was that because she changed her mind literally when I was doing top coat about wearing a color, I did not remove as much acrylic as I would have had I known she was getting a color. You'll see when I'm putting on the color that you can kind of see some ridges and little lumpy areas where there is still acrylic. So had I known during prep and removal that she was going to get a color, I would have done a better job at removal. So you'll see when we go in with the color that you can see that there's still acrylic on, which again, I would have done differently had I known. So I'm going with she has washed her hands again, and I'm going in with some swipe. The reason I went in with swipe real light was just to make sure that no soap was still on her nails. And I'm also going to go in with this dehydrator from Notpolish. This is like swipe on crack. I mean, as soon as it's dry, your nails are just ash. It's extreme dehydrator. Very good dehydrator. Works instantly too. And then I'm going in with their bonder, and then I'm going to go in with their base coat, and then I'm going to go in with their top coat until she stops me. I'll let you guys watch. Okay, you guys, so as usual, I will have things linked in the description box. Amazon things, Kiara Sky things, Notpolish things, like whatever I'm using for your convenience if you would like to use anything. And right here is where she asked me if she could still have a color. So I stopped and I said, okay, what color do you want? And she said, well, are we going to be able to do it? And so I told her, these are the only 2 fingers that I put top coat on, and I haven't even cured it, so I just have to wipe it off. Is that what you want me to do? And she said, yeah. So boom, boom. Looks like I was doing that harsh, but I did have the video sped up. So she chose this color, Sky's the Limit, from the Dolls collection from Notpolish. And as you can see, it's like a turquoise color. And again, I wasn't too happy with the way it was looking because of the little lumpy, I wouldn't say lumpiness, but like the ridges that you can still see some acrylic on for. It ended up looking okay, but the angle that I'm at here, it looks a little worse than it was. Now, although this gel polish can be applied in one coat, it is hardy enough to be used as a one coat. I don't prefer when I'm polishing nails, no matter what product I'm using. Like I have some Zoulay's black, I have some Profiles Backstage. I can't remember the name of the gel, but like they're extremely pigmented and very one coat only polishes. I never, even with those, don't like to do one coat. I feel like I get a better application and curing when I go in with one thin layer and go in with a second thin layer. That's just how I like to use gel. You can do it however you like, but this is my preference, and so that's why you'll see me doing this, although you can just get a good coverage with one coat on this. After that, I'm going to go in with some Notpolish Gloss It. I'll be back. The way, as I'm going here, I do have one of those little tiny dapping dishes that look kind of like a shot glass with a little bit of swipe in it that I am dipping my cleanup brush into. So that is what I'm using to clean up her edges. I always do that before I cure, just because it's just, you should do that. And this little brush, I absolutely love it. And I got it at my nail supply store. It is a gel brush, I think in a size 6 though. I don't know what its intended use is, but this is what I use it for. And Gloss It. I do want to mention that it's a little bit thick, so you'll see me wiping it off because I had a little too much on my brush and I didn't want to fiddle with it on the lid of the jar because that tends to clog the lid, woo-woo. So that's what you'll see me doing with that little lint-free wipe that has swipe on it in a minute. But I love Gloss It, or they're stain resistant. They're stain resistant, and I'm talking about Notpolish. They're stain resistant top coat. Has the same staying power as Gloss It, in case you're wondering. It does prevent stains. Anna is a smoker. I'm a smoker, unfortunately. And so I usually use the stain resistant, and I just forgot and used Gloss It today. But the consistency of the stain resistant is much thinner than Gloss It. Gloss It's much thicker. But I do prefer, I have a lot of different brands of top coat, and I do prefer this brand. I have on toes 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 3 weeks. It never chips, never fades, never scratches, never lifts or peels. It's just the best I've ever used. I do like Kiara Sky acrylic top coat also because I like their brush. I like the consistency. The shine is good. I haven't ever noticed any chipping or degrading of it even after a few weeks. But what I don't prefer about that is it gives an awful heat spike no matter how thin you go with it. So that's kind of why I don't reach for that, even though I do like it. So again, I'll include everything in the description box. We're pretty much done with the set here. I'm going to do some Notpolish lavender cuticle oil. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. The next time we see Anna, we'll be putting a full set on her. I do have some other content coming your way. I still need to swatch the rest of my chisels. Since Anna and the kids are moving out, I will have much more time for nails. I'm going to be planning a live sometime soon. It could be within the next month. When I say soon, that doesn't mean like 3 days. To me, soon is like a month. But when things get rolling back into a smoother routine around here and I get my work schedule back to normal, because I've been working different hours because I take care of the kids in the morning. So I've been working in the evenings, which is really ideal for me. By the way, I also go in with that 180 file again to just sharpen her free edge to make sure that the top coat hasn't like rounded her free edge. I do this on all my sets. That's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to show you guys the pose and we're out. So yeah, look forward to some more content. I have some unboxings. I'm not sure if I'm just going to open those boxes or, you know, so I can use the stuff, or if I'm going to do it on my channel. But here's the final product. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.